All jurors present this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. Was everybody able to get lunch? Yes? And everybody followed my instructions? Yes. Excellent. Staying having rested, Cross?
We didn't rest it.
I meant you rested speaking to the witness, not rested your case. I meant
Sure.
you're done speaking to this witness. Sorry. Cross?
Good afternoon, Investigator Clark.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Good, and yourself?
All right, let me ask you a few questions. Looking at your diagram, you said earlier that room A was the southeastern bedroom in the house at 7719 Hatteras Drive, correct?
On the second floor, yes.
And for clarification, that is clearly the front of the house, correct?
Correct.
Driveways are out here, right?
Correct.
And this is the front staircase, correct?
Correct.
So you would agree with me that if you were to enter the front of the house through the front door, the southeastern bedroom, room A, would be immediately to your right, correct?
Not immediately, no.
There'd be a little wall separating it,
Correct.
about 2-3 feet. That's depicted here in your diagram. This is a wall, right?
Yes, it is.
Sort of like a privacy wall so people can peer into the bedroom, I would suppose?
It's a small wall, yes.
Okay, so other than this wall, this bedroom is immediately to the east of the front door, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if I may approach the witness, Your Honor?
You right?
Ma'am, I'm going to show you what I've identified as Defendant's Exhibit A for identification purposes.
What do you mean?
Can we see that?
One slide.
Can we see it?
Sure, I'm sorry.
Everything's marked as 1, 2, and as 1, 2.
I was going to get to one when I did it.
We start as 1 and we go in as 1.
What's been identified as Defendant's Exhibit 1 for identification.
Thank you.
Ma'am, does that photograph look familiar?
Yes, it does.
Was it taken by yourself?
I believe so.
Okay, and that shows a view from being somewhere in here, a few feet away from the wall, looking south into the bedroom and into the front door, correct?
It was more actually into this side of the room.
This side of the room?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Does it accurately depict the house when you were there in November of 2014?
Yes, it does.
Now, there was a mattress found in the garage you testified to, correct?
Correct.
Was that a queen-size mattress, a double size? Do you have any idea how big that mattress was?
I don't know the size of it now.
Okay, how about the bed in room C? Was that a twin? That was a twin, wasn't it?
It was a small mattress, yes. In room C.
Smaller?
Yes.
Clearly smaller than the one that was in the garage, correct?
Correct.
Now, this diagram is obviously of the top floor, but using it just for reference, I think you testified there's one door entering the house on the ground level from the east side, correct? One single door?
Correct.
And there's one on the other side, opposite on the west side, correct?
Correct.
Where somebody could enter the house from the outside.
Correct.
Do you have any idea, ma'am, how much of a distance it is from the stairwell, from the top of the staircase to the room A?
I do not.
It never was measured?
I did not measure it.
Can you estimate? Do you think it was 20 or 50 or? I don't want you to guess completely if you can't give us a.
No, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. Now, ma'am, isn't it true that no weapons other than kitchen utensils were found within the house when searched by law enforcement and forensics, as far as you know?
Correct.
When you were there to catalog everything, correct?
Yes, I was.
And you took several photographs, correct?
Yes, I did.
And no firearms were found within the house at 7719 Hatteras Drive, correct?
Correct.
And no hunting knives were found within the house, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. No trigger locks in the house? type of locks to lock a trigger on a firearm?
Inside the house?
Correct.
No, I don't believe so.
And would it be accurate to say there were none of those found within the canal, within the water?
That should be correct as well.
And none were found on the long firearms that were photographed, right?
Correct.
They were all unsecure in that sense?
I believe so, yes.
No gun safes or anything like that found within the house or anywhere else?
No, there weren't.
And the dive team in this case, they did a pretty meticulous job cordoning off every section of the canal, correct?
Yes, they did.
They did like a grid work system with ropes and string,
Yes, I believe they did.
and they made sure to comb every square inch of that canal, correct?
I believe so.
Now, the bedroom door for room A, is it fair to say that it opens in when you're entering the bedroom?
That is correct.
Consistent with the diagram, it shows it swinging in
That is correct.
from the left to the right, correct?
Correct.
Is that true for all the doors in the bedrooms? They all open in as opposed to out?
Yes, they do.
Now, was there any doorknobs missing from either of the doors in the master bedroom, room G?
Doorknob? I don't believe so, no.
You do not know?
The doorknobs from the bedroom door?
Yes.
No, I don't believe there were any missing.
Now, you showed us, when we looked at some photographs earlier, you testified as the state was showing you some photographs, and at one point, there was a photograph of the inner door at the bottom of the stairwell, correct?
Correct.
There appeared to be a hook eyelet-type lock on that door, on the inside part, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And it appeared to be functional to you?
Yes,
And that was to secure the door from the inside, correct?
that is also correct.
Now, you testified to some kind of mark in the master bedroom in the corner. It was almost like a hole in the corner bead, right? As you walk into the master bedroom to your right, there was some kind of defect to the corner of the wall, correct?
That is correct.
Consistent with a bullet hole?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you measure the height of that hole from the ground?
I did not.
Would you say it was approximately 5 feet high?
I believe it was a little higher.
Okay. As far as the hole in the southeastern bedroom, room A, there was a hole on the west wall, correct?
That is correct.
And I think you did measure that, right? It's in your report? 46 inches high. Was that 46 inches high?
That was the one in room A?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If I may approach the witness, Your Honor.
You may?
I'm going to show you what the state numbered 46 through 51, which I believe are the pictures of the long firearms found in the canal. Now, in your report, is it correct that you documented all the firearms retrieved from the canal? That was your job?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and you had a chance to review your report to refresh your memory?
Yes, I did.
Okay. In your report, it's true that the first one you document is a Marlin 94 lever action rifle? And just to help you, if you want to reference your report, it's has to do with what you did on September 5th of 2014 at approximately 16:35 hours.
I can look at
Sure, please do.
Which firearm did you say?
I'm at that paragraph that starts at 16:35 in your report. It itemizes, if I'm not mistaken, all the firearms, correct?
That is correct.
After it mentions the Kel-Tec pistol and in the magazine, it begins with Marlin 94 lever action rifle. Am I right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know which rifle is the Marlin in those photographs? Is there a way to identify it?
There is a way to identify, yes.
Would you be able to do that? Would you be able to do that for me right now?
Utilizing my notes, yes.
Yes, sure. Whatever you need to.
In the back of the photograph will be a number, just tell me that number.
Yes, ma'am. Evidence 50?
Okay, great. Thank you. And would,
It states 50.
Sorry,
That's
yes.
okay.
thank you. Next in your list, you itemize a Browning rifle. Would that be the shotgun marked as States Exhibit 51? Is that what that is?
The rifle? Did you say the rifle or the shotgun?
Well, in your report, the next one that in order says Browning rifle, and I'm thinking it might be 51, which is a shotgun, but perhaps I'm mistaken.
No, there was a Browning 308 rifle with a scope.
Okay, that's not the one, okay, that's, but you see back in my paragraph where I'm going in order, first is the Marlin 94 lever action,
Yes,
then it says Browning rifle that has a designated number of RC 35. Then a couple of, later it has the Brown 308. So I'm trying to figure out which one the Browning rifle is, the RC 35. Is that the shotgun?
that was State 51, and yes, that was a shotgun.
Okay, great. I'm making progress. All right, next. All right, the remaining long rifles are all have scopes attached to them, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Here's your next test. Do you know which one is the Winchester 3030?
Yes, I do.
What number for the state on the backside?
I believe that is State Exhibit 48.
48. Okay. Is that a lever action?
Yes, it is.
And can I see that real quick? So you're sure this is the Winchester,
Rifle 3030.
what's designated in your report as Winchester 3030 with scope, is this it?
I would say so.
You pretty sure? Are you 100% sure? I mean, well, I'll give you more time.
That's 1, 2, and 5. Yes, I believe that was it.
Okay, and in that Winchester 3030, you found an unspent cartridge inside, correct?
That is correct.
One singular cartridge.
Yes, that is correct.
When you collected this rifle, it was loaded, correct?
That is correct.
Is that unlike any of the other rifles?
That is also correct, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry for the little test, but I really appreciate that.
That's fine.
I have, well, let me check with, if I can have a moment, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you, ma'am. No further questions.
Redirect.
Just real quick, I think when defense counsel was showing you a photograph, they asked you if it looked like when you were there in November of 2014. To be clear, you were there in September 2014. Is that accurate?
Yes, it's September 2014.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, Judge.
All right, ma'am. You may step down. Have we taken all the evidence and given it back to the clerk? All the photographs you had?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And you may step down, and you remain under subpoena, but you can leave the court. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, call your next witness.
Today we call Jamie Martin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Martin. Please step up to the podium. Right there, raise your right hand and be sworn by my clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand and speak in a loud and clear voice for me, okay? Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Defense counsel, could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jamie Martin.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm a forensic investigator with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
Now, we spoke to a forensic investigator previously. Is your job very similar to the job that Ms. Clark does?
Exactly what Ms. Clark does.
So you don't carry a gun around or chase after suspects either?
No, sir.
You don't interview witnesses?
No.
Okay. Were you with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office Forensics Unit back in September of 2014?
I was.
And I want to turn your attention specifically to September 4th of 2014 in the afternoon. Did you have occasion to respond to 7719 Hatteras Drive?
I did.
Now, when approaching the residence, did you notice any odors?
I did. There was an extremely foul odor coming from somewhere in the residence.
Okay. And were you there for several days?
Yes, I believe me in particular, I was there through Monday,
So
the 7th. No, the 8th.
September 4th would have been a Thursday and you were there
Yes.
through the following Monday?
Yes.
Was that a smell that you could smell throughout that residence?
Yes.
And was it a smell that lingered the entire time that you were there processing the residence?
For the most part, yes.
Now, I want to go with you first to September 5th, 2014. Did you assist the dive team in retrieving items from the canal?
I did.
And what was your job in that process?
Basically, when it came to the attention, the dive team brought to our attention there were so many items in the canal. It was decided that Forensic Investigator Clark and myself would split the duties, and just whatever they were taking out of the canal, we would, alternate documenting those items being taken out.
Judge may approach the witness.
You may.
Defense counsel's previously seen all of these exhibits. First, I want to show you State's Exhibit 57. You recognize that?
I do.
Is that a photograph that you took?
It is.
Was that in order to document one of the items that were recovered from the canal?
Yes.
And what is that photograph of?
Photograph is of a claw hammer.
Okay. Now, what happened to this item after it was pulled out of the water?
As you saw there, I documented with photographs, and then it was packaged and then later submitted to property evidence.
Judge, I'm now showing defense counsel what I'm marking as State's Exhibit 200.
I recognize this as a hammer in the photographs that you just showed.
You collected this and put it into evidence?
I did.
Judge, at this time, say would like to move State's Exhibit 235 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Permission for the witness to step down and publish.
Certainly. You need glove?
Gloves right there. If you could walk it around and show the jury. Thank you, sir. I want to turn your attention to State's Exhibits 222, 223, and 224. Tell me if you recognize those.
I do.
Those are for identification.
Yes, pictures taken for identification of two separate knives.
I'm sorry, for the record.
Yes.
Identification.
Identification.
They have not
Yes,
yet been
sorry.
admitted to evidence.
Sorry.
No problem. In particular, State's Exhibit, let's start with 223. What is that documenting?
It's a knife in a sheath.
Where did that come from?
That as well came from the canal.
And when it was retrieved from the canal, were you there to receive it and document it and collect it ultimately?
Exactly, just like the hammer.
And is that the way it was found in the sheath?
It
As
is.
photographed in State's 223?
It is.
Turning your attention to State's Exhibit 222, do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that a photograph of?
That is another knife.
And does that coordinate in any way with the photograph State's 223?
Yes, I believe that's the knife that is in the sheath.
Okay, and is State's 222 the knife's out of the sheath?
Yes.
And there's no measurement involved in these photographs. Can you give us a context of approximately how big this knife is?
Maybe with the handle and the entire, from blade tip to the handle, about 5 inches.
Okay. Turn your attention to State's 224. You recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
That is the other knife. Yes, that's the second knife.
Okay, and where did that come from?
That came from the canal as well.
And when it came out of the canal, were you there to receive it, document it, and ultimately enter it into evidence?
I was.
And again, there's no measurement really in this photograph. Can you give us some context regarding how big this knife is?
About the same, approximately 5 inches.
Okay. And Judge, at this time, so I would like to move State's Exhibits 222, 223, and 224 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
They'll be in 222, 223, and 224 into evidence.
I'm showing you what's been entered into evidence as State's 55. You recognize that?
I do.
And did you take that photograph?
3 power drills.
And where did they come from?
Those also came from the canal.
You know, when they were removed from the canal, were you there to receive them and then document them and ultimately enter them into evidence?
Yes.
And is this a photograph taken after the, after they were taken back to the forensics building, I guess?
Yes, I believe this photograph was taken later on back at the forensic section. Yes.
And there's all kinds of stains around. To be clear, that's water, right?
That's water running off of the batteries, off of the drills, yes.
Okay. And also states 56. Is that a photograph that you took?
Yes.
What is that of?
Different types of ammunition, and then looks like magazines that hold some of those cartridges.
Was there a bow accessory involved in that?
Yes, I believe that's what that item is there with the yellow on it.
Okay. What types of ammunition are these?
As I remember, the red in the photograph, the red are shotgun shells. And then these, as I remember correctly, were .308 cartridges.
Consistent with being able to be used in a .308 rifle?
Yes.
Were you involved in assisting in the search of the residence at 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Yes.
In particular, did you document the upper patio area of the residence?
Yes.
And would that be the area labeled room O on the diagram labeled states 59?
It would.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as, actually I'm going to show defense counsel what's been marked as states 236. Mr. Martin, I'm not showing you as been marked as states 236. You recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
That is a photograph of a settee set or two chairs and a table located on that patio, room O.
Other than the photograph you took, is it fair to say that there really wasn't a whole lot interesting about room O?
No, other than the two chairs and the table and the items on the table, nothing else remarkable in room O.
Okay, now, I want to talk to you about a couple of other rooms, and I may ask you to step down in a minute, but
Sure.
were you involved in assisting in evidence collection in the way of taking swabs from various areas of interest?
I was.
Can you describe for the jury what I mean when, or what is meant when you say use the term swab and the process you go through in order to collect one?
Well, the process is you would glove up first, like I did a while ago. We open up a brand new package of swabs. They have a cotton tip on the end, they're a little bit longer. And then if the area is dry, if it's wet, then we don't have to use distilled water, but usually it's a dry area, so if it's dry, then we have to apply a drop of distilled water to the cotton part of the tip. And then we just gently swab that area, put the swab back into the package. That's sealed, it's put into its own separate bag and given an item number, and then put into property evidence for further testing. And that process would be repeated for each area that we would swab.
Okay, now, Mr. Martin, I want to take you through a couple of these rooms, and I'm going to ask you questions about various areas, but if it's okay with the judge, I'd like you to step down because I'm going to display some of the photographs on the big board.
We're gonna move that closer and then we're gonna have to bring the big screen out.
First up, can you tell me what JM21 is? Yes, if you would your notes help you refresh your recollection of some of the various swabs? Yes, okay.
JM21 is a swab of apparent blood pressure from sticker scale B1-A.
And would that be
Hold on
in
one second, hold on
the...
one second.
you could just speak up just another
Sure,
tad,
sorry.
you'd be good. Okay.
Item JM21 is a swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale B1-A.
Experiencing some technical difficulties, I'll give you a moment.
Can you turn it on? Is the TV on? Thank you. You're good to go.
Now displaying State's Exhibit 169. You see the area that you took the swab JM21 from in this photograph on the big screen over there.
I do.
Could you please point it out for the jury?
On this.
No, yeah, on the photograph.
Oh. Would be here?
And here, we'll give you a pointer. We're gonna do a few of these. And since you brought it up, where would that be on the diagram?
It would be just inside what's referred to as room A on the diagram, just inside the doorway on the floor.
And did you do a presumptive test to determine whether there was blood?
I did a phenolphthalein test.
Okay, and can you describe for us how a phenolphthalein test works?
Phenolphthalein test is a presumptive blood test for areas of suspected blood. It basically works, the phenolphthalein reagent and hydrogen peroxide as part of the test reacts with the hemoglobin in the blood. So if you get a positive test, then it's more likely blood. We don't know if it's human or animal or what at that point. More testing would have to be done, hence the taking the swab later on of the actual area and having submitted that. If it comes back negative, then it may not be blood, probably is not blood, so then we don't do anything with that area.
Okay, and there's another sticker scale on there, B1B. Did you take a swab of that as well?
I did.
And did you test that and determine whether that was presumptive for blood
I did?
using the same test you already described?
Yes.
And was that positive for blood as well?
Yes.
Okay. I'm now going to display states 164. Trying to zoom in on the sticker scale there. Did you take a swab from sticker scale B1C?
I did?
And that would be this large stain on the floor?
Yes.
This picture here? Can you point that out on the diagram for us, just so we're all in the same spot? Thank you. Did you do that same presumptive test for blood that you already described?
Phenolphthalein test, it tested positive, and then I would have collected a swab from that same area.
Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention to, I'm now displaying State's Exhibit 180. The closet of that room. You see where we are?
Mm-hmm.
And again, to reacquaint the jury, you can point out on the diagram where that'd be.
Should be against this wall here in the larger closet in that room.
And now I'm going to show you display 181, which would be a close-up of that same stain. Did you do the presumptive test on that stain as well?
Yes.
Did it test positive for blood?
I believe so.
And did you swab that?
I did.
And did you label that, or did you swab it in the same manner that you already described for us with all the safeguards to ensure
Absolutely.
you keep it correct? And did you enter that into evidence as JM32?
I did.
So JM32 would be a swab from this specific location.
So swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale B1-L.
Okay. I'm now displaying State's Exhibit 170. This red chair.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take? Did you test different areas of this red chair with the presumptive test for blood that you described?
I did.
In particular, is there an area B1B that you can see?
Yes.
Where is that area?
So on the top portion of the chair?
Okay. And did you take a swab of that area?
I did.
and use the same method that you've already described for us?
Yes.
And did you enter that into evidence as JM24?
I did.
Now, I want to ask you about B1E and B1F. Are they both also from this red chair?
They are.
And do you know where on the red chair they are?
I believe that is possibly F. And E may be on a different side of the chair.
And I'm showing you states, displaying states 172. It doesn't have a sticker scale on it, but would that be the approximate area that B1E was?
Yes,
And did you test that area for blood?
I did.
And was it presumptive positive?
It was.
And there's a close-up of that other sticker scale. Is that B1F?
Yes. It was on the seat portion of the chair.
And again, did you do the presumptive test on that?
I did.
And was it positive?
Yes.
Now I'm displaying states exhibit 174. I believe there are multiple sticker scales we can see on this.
B1-G, looks like.
Okay, and B1-G, did that test positive for blood?
It did.
And how about B1H?
It did.
Now B1H, did you take a swab from it using the same method of collecting you already described for us?
I did.
And did you enter that into evidence as JM28?
I did. JM28, swab of apparent blood collected from sticker
Excuse
scale.
me,
B1
I'm sorry, but I am not getting it.
Sorry.
You're talking to the
Sorry.
jury,
Sorry.
not to Mr. Sarabi, although he's asking you. So
Okay.
if you keep your voice going that way, she'll be able to hear you.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Do it again.
So JM28 is swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale B1-H.
Okay, B1-I over there on the other side. Did that test positive for blood?
It did.
Okay. Turning your attention, I'm now displaying states 178. Sticker scale there. And now I'm going to display stage 179, a close-up of the sticker scale there. Can you read that sticker scale?
B1-J.
And did you do a presumptive test for blood on that area?
I did.
Did it test positive?
Yes, it did.
And did you take a swab of that area?
I did.
Did you label that JM30?
JM30, swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale B1-J.
All right, now I want to take you to the master bedroom. Did you do some swabs and presumptive tests in there as well?
I did.
I want to ask you first, I'm going to display states 202. And then I'm going to display states 203, which would be a close-up of that sticker scale. Can you read that?
I can. Sticker scale MBR-A.
And did you do a presumptive test on that sticker scale for blood?
I did.
Did it come back positive?
It did.
Did you take a swab of that area?
I did.
And did you enter it into evidence as JM40?
JM40, swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale MBR-A.
Okay. I'm now displaying states exhibit 198. And now I'm going to display states exhibit 199, which would be a close-up of the sticker scale 198. Can you read that for us?
Sticker scale MBR-E.
Take a swab of that area to present the test,
I did.
and did it test positive?
It did.
And did you take a swab using the same method you've already described for us of that particular area of interest?
I did.
And did you enter it into evidence as JM41?
Yes. JM41, swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale MBR-E.
Now, states exhibit 200, I'm displaying that. And now I'm going to show you states exhibit 201, which would be a close-up of the sticker scale that we saw in states 200. Did you do a presumptive test on that area of interest?
I did.
Did it test positive for blood?
It did.
And did you take a swab of that area?
I did.
Did you enter the swab from MBR -F into evidence as JM 42.
I did.
I'm now showing you a photograph of just outside the master bedroom closet. And that is stage 205 that I'm displaying. You see the bigger scale there. And now we're going to show you stage 206, which should be a close-up of that sticker scale. Did you take a swab, or did you do a presumptive test of that area?
I did.
And did it test positive for blood?
It did.
And did you take a swab of that area using the same method that you've already described for us?
I did.
And did you enter that into evidence as JM43?
Yes. JM 43, swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale MBC-A.
Okay. Now we're going to show you stage 215. And we'll zoom in on sticker scales MBC-B and MBC-C. Did you take, or did you do presumptive tests of both of those areas?
I did.
And did they test positive for blood?
They did.
Moving along, I'm now going to display stage 58. I'm going to ask you about some photographs of the stairwell area. Showing stage 112. It doesn't have a sticker scale on it, but does that depict an area that was later labeled as first floor center A?
Yes.
And did you do a presumptive test on that area?
I did.
Did it test positive for blood?
It did.
Did you take a swab of that area
I did.
using the same method that we've already talked about?
Yes.
And did you enter that into evidence as JM35?
Yes. JM 35, swab of apparent blood collected from sticker scale first floor center A.
Now displaying stage exhibit 119. I'm going to show you stage 120, a close-up of that sticker scale. And what's the label of that sticker scale?
Stairwell A.
Did you do the presumptive test for blood on that particular sticker scale?
I did.
Did it test positive?
It did.
And you take a swab of that area?
I did.
Did you enter it into evidence as JM36?
I did.
Now I'm going to show you stage 229. And that sticker scale, what's the label on that one?
Stairwell C.
Did you do a presumptive test on that area?
I did.
And did you take a swab of that area using the method you've already described for us?
I did.
And did you enter that into evidence as JM38?
I did.
Okay. All right. Real quick, if you could resume your seat, I'm going to need you to get up again in a moment. Thank you. Mr. Martin, I don't want to go into all the details, but did you do swabs and presumptive tests of other areas that did not come back presumptive positive?
I did.
In addition to assisting with the residents, were you involved in assisting in processing a blue truck related to this case?
Yes, the blue pickup truck.
Yes. Judge, may I approach the witness?
You may.
First, I'm showing defense counsel these exhibits 237 through, not very good.
Did you move in 236? Did you move in 236? Who's the patio furniture? Do you want to move in 236?
We asked to move in Stage Exhibit 236.
So, defense, any objection?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, 236 is in, so we're at 237 through what?
That's to get that. Showing you Stage Exhibit 237. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What, is that a truck that you assisted in processing back at the Pasco Forensics Lab
Yes,
area?
yes.
Okay. And showing you Stage Exhibits 238 and 239. Look at those. And 240, Stage 240. Are those all of the truck that you assisted in processing back at the forensics lab?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And was there anything on the top of that vehicle?
Yes, there was a advertisement sticker on top of the cab of the vehicle.
Was there a name associated with that advertisement?
Says Nicholas A. Leonard, Hauling and More. Give us a call, we do it all. 727-479-3139.
Okay. Are those fair and accurate depictions of the vehicle as you saw it when you began processing it?
They are?
Judge, at this time I'd like to move State's Exhibits 237 through 240 into evidence.
Defense, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
And if you could-
Photographs 237 through 240 will be admitted.
Thank you. Now, if you could look at State's Exhibits 241 through 244. Recognize those.
I do.
And what are those of?
Those are of the interior of the vehicle?
Sorry, I had 245 to that as well. Is that also the interior of the vehicle?
It is?
And is that the way the interior of the vehicle appeared when you began processing it?
It is.
They fairly and accurately represent what you saw?
They do?
Okay. This time, State would like to move State's Exhibits 241 through 245 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 241 through 245 will be so moved.
Showing you State's Exhibit 246. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that?
It's a picture of a DeWalt tool bag.
Did that come out of the blue truck that we were just looking at?
It did.
And in fact, is that also pictured within the DeWalt tool bag, within the blue truck that we were just looking at?
It is.
And this photograph, is this photograph that you took afterwards when you were further examining these items?
Yes, when items were taken out of the truck.
Okay. This time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 246 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
246 will be into evidence.
Showing you State's 247, what is that?
Yes, I recognize that.
What is that?
It's a saw,
And
an
where did that
electric
come,
saw.
where did that come from?
That came out of that DeWalt tool bag.
Okay. Fair and accurate depiction of the way it looked when you removed it.
It is.
This time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 247 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be so moved.
Showing you
47 in.
State's Exhibit 248 and 249, do you recognize those?
I do.
And what are those of?
It's a holder holding drill bits.
And 248, is that the way you found it?
It is?
And 249, is that when you unrolled it to look inside?
Yes.
Fair and accurate depictions of what you observed?
It is?
This time, State would like to move State's Exhibits 248 and 249 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 248 and 249 are in.
Can you tell me what 250, State's 250 for identification is?
250 is just a conglomerate of screws, nails, different tools that came out of that same black DeWalt tool bag.
Were there any electric drills or cordless drills that were in that tool bag?
No.
This time, state would like to move State's Exhibit 250 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
250 will come into evidence.
Showing you State's Exhibits 251 and 252 and 253. Can you tell me what those are?
Yes, it's another different tool bag, the kind that you put over a bucket. You fit it over a bucket, and then stuff can go inside and around the outside of it. The other photograph is the items, tools, and items taken out of that same bucket bag. And then 253 is a close-up of a DeWalt battery charger.
Is that a battery charger that would be consistent with batteries that would go with like a cordless drill?
Yes.
But you didn't, did you find the cordless drill in the truck?
No, not in the truck.
Where did you find the cordless drill?
We found those three that I believe were admitted earlier out of the canal.
At this time, so I'd like to move State's Exhibit 251, 252, and 253 in evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll so move.
Judge, may the witness step down and may I display the exhibits?
Nay.
I'm displaying State's 237. Can you tell us what we're looking at there?
That is the front windshield of the blue pickup truck.
And that violation warning, was that on there when Pasco County Sheriff's Office received the truck?
It was.
Now we're going to display State's 238. What is that and where was that?
It's a Shack Life, the Fisherman's Shack, Old Dixie Highway, Hudson, Florida. It's a decal sticker, and I believe it was on the driver's side rear passenger door, or suicide door as they call them, on the window of that door.
Displaying State's 240. And is that the bed of the truck?
It is.
You saw a picture in State's 238 and 237.
It is.
Showing State's 239. Where is that?
That's the top of the cab?
And that's that same truck, same blue truck?
Yes.
I'm displaying State's 241. Tell us what we're looking at there.
This would be behind there was no passenger seat in the vehicle, so this would be the passenger side of the vehicle and the back seat.
Showing State's 242. Tell me what we're looking at there.
Pretty much the same area, the back seat of the truck.
Showing State's 243. Can you tell us what we're looking at there?
Then that would be looking inside the passenger door, so this is the front passenger area of the vehicle.
And that yellow and black thing there, what is that?
That's the yellow DeWalt bag that we spoke of, and then this is the other bag inside the bucket.
Okay. And there was no drills, cordless drills or
No drills.
in either of those items?
No.
Okay. I'm showing, I'm now displaying State's 244. What is that a photograph of?
That's a photograph of what's referred to as a center console. It would be in between the two seats.
And were there flyers advertising Nicholas A. Leonard?
Yes, flyers, yes, inside of that.
And there's a wallet right there on top of the flyer. Did you look in that wallet?
I don't recall if I looked inside or what was inside of it.
Would you like to refresh your recollection with your report?
Yes, please.
That would help. Your photographs, I guess, might be.
I don't show documentation of what was inside that wall.
Okay. And were you the only one that was processing this vehicle? Or
No, I
was there
believe-
someone else?
Yeah, I believe forensic investigator Wygan was involved as well.
All right, I'm going to show you stage 245. What is that?
That again is the inside of that DeWalt bag, the yellow bag, and then this is the bucket bag, and that's a DeWalt charger.
All right, I'm going to display stage 246. Is that the same DeWalt tool that we were just looking at in
It
the
is.
truck?
Yes, it is.
Is this photograph you took after it was removed?
After it was removed from the truck, yes.
I'm displaying stage 247. Is this an item that was in that DeWalt tool bag?
Yes,
That was within the truck?
it was.
Okay. I'm displaying stage 248. Is that another item that was within that DeWalt tool bag?
I believe it's attached to the end of that. The photo you just showed, it's attached to the end of the saw so that it doesn't get
Okay.
separated.
What's the brand name on that?
Ryobi, R-Y-O-B-I.
Okay. And stage 249 is this photograph of stage 248 unrolled,
Yes,
the bunch of different drill bits.
drill bits, correct.
Are those consistent with something you would use in a drill,
Yes,
an electric drill or a cordless drill?
exactly.
Okay. I'm showing you, I'm now displaying stage 250. I believe you testified already that that was also the contents of that yellow and black.
Of the yellow DeWalt bag, yes.
And you also see some drill bits in that group of items.
I believe there was a few. You can see a couple there. I believe there was a few in that.
Okay. I'm showing you stage 251. And that's the other tool
The bucket bag, yes.
that was in the truck.
Yes,
Okay. I'm showing you stage 252. Is that once you remove that tool bucket we just looked at in 251 and the contents that were within it?
yes,
Okay. And I'm showing you stage 253. That was another item that was within that blue truck.
yes.
While we're at it, since I forgot to display it. I'm now going to display stage 236. You can just remind us what that was.
That's that settee set, the 2 chairs and table on the upstairs patio, which was, I think, room O.
And was there a box of Camel cigarettes?
Yes,
And you may resume your seat. Actually, I'm probably going to have you sit down again in just a second.
Please
I
get
forgot
some
about
steps
these
in.
two. Actually, I want to go show the defense these two photographs. Showing defense counsel stage exhibits 254 and 255. Were you involved in going up in a helicopter in order to take some photographs of the area of 7709 Hatteras Drive and other areas of interest in that surrounding area?
I was.
And I want to show you stage exhibits 254 and 255. Do you recognize those?
Yes, I recognize that as the residence at 7719 Hatteras Drive.
And that's stage 254?
Yes,
Okay. And stage 255, is that an aerial view of the end of the Hatteras Drive cul-de-sac, I guess?
yes, towards the west, it looks like, from the residence. Yes.
And what date did you go up in the helicopter and take those photographs?
I believe it was Saturday, September 6th.
Okay. And if you step down, let's look at these real quick. Displaying states 254. And just acquaint us with what we're looking at there.
This is the residence that we're talking about, 7719 Hatteras Drive.
And when you responded on September 4th, 2014, was there a significant law enforcement presence outside of that residence?
There was.
Was it similar to the number of cars that we see located there in this photograph?
Much more than that, actually.
Okay. Were there lights, blue lights, red lights?
Yes.
Was there a roadblock in that area?
There was, further down on Old Dixie Highway, both directions. The road was
Okay.
blocked, and all that was allowed in was persons in agency vehicles.
And I'm displaying states 255. Is this Hatteras Drive right here?
Yes. Yes, so
This would be the end of the cul-de-sac, I guess, of Hatteras Drive?
that's correct. And the residence, although not in this picture, would be over in this direction.
Okay. Now you're resuming 256. I'm sorry, did I move 254 and 255 in evidence?
No,
May I move in evidence?
Thank you, objection.
No objection.
So be so moved, 254, 255.
Going back to the blue truck that we saw photographs of that you assisted in processing, involved in that processing, did you try and lift some fingerprints for evidentiary value?
I did.
In particular, can you tell me about JM 126? 126.
JM126 is a latent fingerprint lift from the inside or internal side of the passenger side window.
Okay, and did it appear to have ridge detail such that it might be of value to compare?
As my recollection, yes, it did.
Okay. And you collect that so it can be processed in the future?
Yes, it would be packaged similar to like the swabs are, put it in its own package and submitted, as you said, as item JM126.
Okay. I'd also like to show you States Exhibits 256 and 257.
Mm-hmm.
Are those both photographs that were taken when you were up in the helicopter on September 6th?
Yes, aerial photographs.
Are they fair and accurate representations of the way the area of 7019 Hatteras Drive looked back then?
Yes.
You want to move them in or no?
I do not yet, Judge, thank you. I did not forget those. I'm showing you states 41 and states 42. Already been entered into evidence as aerial views of towards the end of Old Dixie Highway. Do you recognize those?
I do.
Are those photographs that were taken while you were up in the helicopter on September 6, 2014?
They are.
Do they accurately reflect the way the area appeared at that time?
They do.
Okay. Finally, I'm going to show you States 54. Is that also an aerial photograph that you took, or that you were present while it was being taken on September 6th of
It is.
2014?
Yes,
Did it accurately depict the area as it appeared on that day,
it does.
aside from the colored stars that are on it? All right, Judge, may I have just a moment?
You may.
All right, I don't have any more questions, Judge.
All right, you want to make sure you have all the evidence back to the clerk?
I believe that I do.
Okay, anything? Yes, sir, great, yes. At least on the table. Your afternoon break, so you can, if you want to get coffee, you can do so before the cafeteria closes. I'll go ahead and let you go downstairs for 15 minutes to stretch the legs. When we come back up, we're going to go straight through, and I told the state that I promised you we'll be out of here at 6. We'll be out of here by 6. So we'll gauge the witnesses. If the witness is going to go past 6, then we'll just hold the court tomorrow. Okay?
All jurors present, see Your Honor.
All right, everyone able to not talk to anybody or tweet or text or blog? Yes? All right, State, call your next witness.
They would call Michael Coates.
All right, Michael Coates. Good afternoon, Mr. Coates. You want to step up to the podium for me and stop right there? Raise your right hand, be sworn by my clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand, speak in a loud and clear voice for me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Michael Coates, COATS. I work for Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
How were you employed back in September 2014?
I worked for Pasco County Sheriff's Office as a forensic investigator.
And as a forensic investigator, was your job description the same as what Jamie Martin and Rhea Clark's would be?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So again, you don't carry a gun, you don't chase suspects, you don't interview witnesses.
No, not
Okay.
at all.
You document the crime scene and search for things, look for things, process things.
Yes, I do.
Okay. I want to take you back to, let's start with September 5th of 2014. On that day, did you go to the dead end berm area of Old Dixie Highway?
Let me refer to my notes real quick. Yes. Yeah, it was on a Friday.
And so Friday, September 5th. And when you went out there, were the bodies still present at the scene?
No, they were not.
And when you were there, did you notice any odors?
Yes, there was very foul odor. A large area of the grass was matted down, and it smelled very heavily of a decomposition smell.
So even though the bodies were not there anymore, the odor was still terrible?
Yes, you could smell it before you walked up to the area.
Okay. And while you were out there, did you use a metal detector over that general area?
I did. I swept the matted down area and the area leading up to that area.
And in those particular spots, did you find anything or detect anything with a metal detector?
No, I did not.
I want to turn your attention back to 7719 Hatteras Drive. Were you involved in assisting the search of that residence?
I was.
And I understand you processed the laundry room, which we've already seen photographs of.
I did.
And other than some of the dog feces on the ground, was there anything really of particular note in the laundry room?
No, I collected a couple items from there. I don't believe there was anything in there.
Okay. Now, I really want to focus on the east side of the residence, outside of the residence. You know the area that I'm talking about,
Yes, the exterior of the house, correct?
the exterior of the house.
Yes, sir.
Was there an area of loose dirt?
Yes, there was.
And were you involved at all in the processing of that area?
Yes, I was.
Can you describe for the jury what your involvement was?
Let's see. On Saturday, I went out there and Supervisor Solinsky asked me to sweep the east side of the house. There's a large lawn area with a metal detector. And then she also asked me, she pointed out an area of soft sand that was directly next to the house. And she asked me to sift through that area. So for the next 2 days, I believe, I dug a hole and sifted through the sand.
Okay, and you said Saturday, that would have been September 6th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to show you some photographs that have already been shown to defense counsel, states exhibits 258 through 261. And you recognize those?
Yes, yes, I do.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of the hole that you dug and the thing that you found in it?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, say would like to move State's Exhibits 258 through 261 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, also moved.
And in particular, what'd you find in there?
After digging for a while, I came across like a sticker label, and I opened it up and looked at it, and it was an Ames shovel label. It was torn, but it was a piece of a label like on a brand new shovel you find in the store.
And where exactly did you find it? Was it lying on the ground?
No, it was probably about 1.5 feet, 2 feet down. Like it was down towards the bottom of the hole that I was digging.
Okay. Did anything, well, let me show you State's Exhibit 262, which I already showed the defense counsel for identification. Can you look in there and tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do. It's the label that I dug up.
Judge, at this time, say would like to move State's Exhibit 262 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 262 will be moved in.
Judge, may the witness step down and display the item?
You may.
If you could show that to the jury. After you dug about 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep, were you able to dig any further?
No, I hit what I felt like was sediment.
And sediment, what do you mean by that?
It was basically just the hard dirt, like it hadn't been disturbed. If you dig a hole that has something like that, if it's been dug up once before, it'll be very soft because the earth has been disturbed. So when you fill it back in, it's a lot softer, and when you're digging a hole when you're digging in an area that hasn't been disturbed, you're going against, nature and, time and everything, just compacting it down. So I hit an area and it just kind of stopped.
Okay, was there an area that was like lime rock?
Yeah, it felt like lime rock. It was a lot of shell bed, stuff like that just You
And
couldn't
what-
get through it.
What tools were you using to dig?
A shovel.
Was the shovel going to be able to penetrate through the lime rock to dig, so let's say another 3 or 4 feet down?
Not by me, no. I definitely couldn't do that.
Okay. And Judge, may the witness step down and get pictures and everything?
You may.
So we can show the jury the photographs that we just discussed.
That's fine. Mr. Coates, we're going to be standing over there talking to the jury. Just remember my court reporter's over here. She has to hear you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
If you can't hear me, feel free to yell at me and let me know.
Is it 293 on that? All good. I'm showing you what's been entered into evidence. It states 258. Can you describe what we're looking at in this photograph?
Can you give me the number again? I'm sorry.
258.
Thank you.
This is the east side of the residence. This is sort of that. This area here is the, thank you. These are, this area here is the screened-in patio that contains the pool. This tent here and the sawhorses and these wooden areas are the screens that I was using to actually sift through the dirt. I was digging a hole here. You can actually see my shovel here. Digging a hole here, and then I would take the dirt over here in buckets and sift through it. This pile here is everything that I've removed so far up until that point. But you can see the hole here. It's pretty decent size.
And to be clear, the tent and the sawhorses and the sifter and the shovel we see on the ground there, are those all things that you brought?
Yes, that is all my equipment, including the tarp that's everything's under, and everything. This was just a grassy area until I got there.
Okay. So, but by the time this photograph was taken, this area is being disturbed by your search?
Extremely.
Okay. And I'm displaying states 259. Can you tell me what we're looking at there?
Yeah, this is, again, for a point of reference, this is the shovel that I had in there. This is the post from that wooden area. This is the hole that I actually dug. And it's about, I think it's approximately 5 to 6 feet long, 2 to 3 feet wide, and then about 2 to 3 feet deep. Right here, you can see the label. I found it over here, and it was one of those when I dug it up. I opened it up to make sure it was something that maybe I needed or whatnot, and that's what I came across, and I opened it up so I could take a photo of it where it was.
I'm displaying states exhibit 260.
And again, this is a close-up of the label itself that I just showed you.
And I'm showing you 261.
And then this would be, again, the area of the hole that I haven't done.
Thank you. You can resume your seat.
Thank you.
Did you assist in searching other areas of the residence?
I did.
In particular, did you help search in the master bedroom area on the second floor?
Which room are we referring to? Room G?
Room G on the diagram?
Yes, right here. Yes.
Okay. Now, I've already shown defense counsel what's been marked as State's Exhibit 263. Could you look at that and tell me if you recognize what that is?
Yes,
You recognize that?
I do.
And where did you find that?
It was on the floor, in front of the dresser, on the southwest corner of the room, or southeast corner of the room, I'm sorry.
Okay. And how would you describe it?
It is a broken piece of metal.
All right, Judge, at this time, say would like to move this exhibit into evidence.
Any objection?
New York.
All right, 63 will come in.
May the witness step down and publish this to the jury.
You may.
It's a small piece of metal. Everyone can see that. Everyone get a good look? Okay.
Can you tell me what is MC14?
MC 14, 14.
Correct.
Let me refer to my notes real quick. MC 14 is a swab of the floor in room G. It's one swabbing of the southeast corner next to the dresser.
Okay. Now, approaching you with an item marked State's Exhibit 264. Can you just tell us what 264 looks like right now?
It looks like it's a map of the upstairs of the residence.
Same diagram that we just looked at?
I believe so, yes.
States 59. Can you highlight for me the area from which you took the swab on States 264?
Sure.
And if you could, write MC14 next to that.
Sure. Sorry.
Judge, at this time, I would like to move State's Exhibit 264 into evidence.
Any objection? The diagram?
Yes.
New York.
All right, 264 will come into evidence.
Judge, if I can have just a moment.
Okay.
So, Mr. Coates, to be clear, we did talk about swabs with some of the previous forensic texts, but how did you collect the swab?
This swabbing was an area that we had sprayed with luminol. And so what we did was we basically moistened the swab with distilled water, and then we swabbed the area, we put it back into the package and sealed the package.
Okay, and then you enter into evidence for later testing if necessary as MC14?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any more questions, Judge.
Cross?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Coates, thank you very much. You may step down. Is he released from his subpoena?
No, Judge, we asked that he remain on standby.
All right, just remain on standby, be available by phone, but you're released from the courthouse today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, State, call your next witness.
State will call Susan Miller.
Okay, Susan.
Susan Miller. Yes.
Do we need to approach?
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready for Ms. Miller? State, defense, yes?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Miller can come in. Good afternoon, Ms. Miller. I'm going to have you step up to the podium. When you get there, I'll have you stop. Raise your right hand and be sworn by my clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, please have a seat in the witness stand and speak in a loud and clear voice for me. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Could you please turn and introduce yourself to the jury?
Good afternoon. My name is Susan Miller.
And Ms. Miller, what do you do for a living?
I'm a forensic investigator with Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been doing that?
17 years.
Been to a lot of different crime scenes?
I have.
Worked a lot of homicides?
I have.
You know, what sort of work do you do as a forensic technician? What are your duties?
My duties currently as a supervisor, but I do respond out to crime scenes to document them, to photograph, to collect items and evidence and preserve them.
Okay. Did you have occasion to respond out to or be involved in the investigation into 7719 Hatteras Drive?
Yes, I did.
And on September 4th of 2014 in particular, did you go out to the dead-end berm on Old Dixie Highway about 3/4 of a mile beyond 7719 Hatteras Drive.
Yes, I did.
And can you describe, as you arrived there, what was the smell like?
There was an odor of decomposition in the air as I arrived.
Was it a strong smell or a weak smell?
And no, it was predominantly a strong odor.
And would you describe it as a good smell or a bad smell?
It is not a good smell. No, it's not.
Okay. And can you describe the general area at that berm?
There's heavy vegetation at the end of the berm. It is a limestone dirt road, and this area was specifically on the west side of that.
Now, approximately where were the bodies located in relation to the roadway?
They were located off of a matted down path of vegetation on the west side of that limestone rock road.
Approximately how far off the road would you say they were?
Approximately in the area of 10 to 20 feet.
Judge, may I approach the witness?
May?
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 265 to 271. If you could flip through there and look at those, and tell me if you recognize those.
265 for what?
271.
Yes, I do.
Are they all fair and accurate depictions of the way that the dead-end area of Old Dixie Highway appeared on September 4, 2014?
That's correct.
Judge, at this time, the state would like to move State's Exhibits 265 through 271 into evidence.
Any objection?
Any objections before you?
All right. I don't believe any of those are included in the original objection, so you have,
No objections.
okay, so they'll be in as 265 through 271. They're just photographs of the area. Go ahead.
How would you describe the bodies generally?
Well, as previously stated, they were in an advanced state of decomposition.
Were they in different spots or were they all together?
No, all of the bodies were together in a group.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 272. If you recognize that,
I do.
without pulling it up, please. Do not hold it up. Is that a fair and accurate way that the bodies appeared when you arrived?
Yes, it does.
And that is before they were disturbed at all by forensics personnel or law enforcement personnel?
That is correct.
There is kind of like a pole on the top left of that photograph. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, once we arrived at the scene, we noticed that there was going to be inclement weather that was approaching, and so we put up one of those pop-up tents.
And by inclement weather, you mean it was possibly going to rain?
That's correct.
Okay. At this time, so I would like to move State's Exhibit 272 into evidence.
Objection, Judge.
All right. Overruling the earlier objection raised by the defense will be admitted.
I'd like to turn your attention to State's Exhibits 273 through 279. Could you look at those and tell me if you recognize those?
Yes, I do.
And are those all of the area of the dead end of Old Dixie Highway
Yes, it is.
from September 4th, 2014?
That's correct.
This time, State would like to move State's Exhibits 273 through 279 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right. 273 through 279 will come into evidence.
Now, when you get out there and begin to document the scene by taking photographs and things, do you disturb the bodies at all?
No, we do not.
Why not?
Well, we need to capture them on video and also with the photographs.
Okay, and at what point do the bodies get disturbed?
Once the medical examiner has arrived on scene.
Okay, so prior to the medical examiner arriving, you guys don't mess with them at all?
And that's correct.
And did the medical examiner come out?
Yes, he did.
Was that Dr. Palma?
It was.
And once Dr. Palma arrives and begins to deal with the bodies, do you assist him in that?
Yes, we do. We document by taking additional video and photography.
Okay. Now, in regards to the bodies, how many were there?
There were 4.
And was there one that was on top of another one, or kind of on top of the pile?
Yes, that's correct.
A white male,
A white male, that's correct.
is that fair? Let's refer to that one as Nick Leonard. Can you tell me, how was he oriented?
He was located on his backside, and his head was positioned to the north and his feet were to the south.
And what was he wearing?
He was wearing a dark colored shirt and dark type of shorts with socks.
So fully clothed, essentially?
Correct.
And anything unusual about his shirt around the neckline?
There appeared to be some sort of a torn area around the elastic part of the shirt.
Anything else on or around his body that's unusual?
He had a yellow rope that was also around the body, and a large log that was positioned over the legs.
And I'm approaching the state's exhibits 280 through 283.
280 through 283?
Correct. In particular 280, can you tell me what we're looking at there?
So this is a photograph that's depicting the yellow rope that I mentioned, and specifically zoomed in on the knot that was created with that rope.
Okay. And 281 through 283, can you tell us what those are?
These are photographs depicting overall of that rope, and we have 2 additional photographs that are depicting closer up of the knot.
And were there multiple knots in that rope?
Yeah, that's correct. There's approximately 2.
This time, state would like to move state's exhibits 280 through 283 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 280 through 283 will come into evidence.
Did you collect that yellow rope?
Yes, I did.
And did you enter it into evidence with a unique number SM28?
Yes, I did.
And SM, those are your initials.
They are. Stands for Susan Miller.
One of the conventions, because we have JM and RC,
That's correct.
MC, and now we have SM, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, the body on to the west of the pile, or on the west part of the pile, adult female,
That's correct.
and I'm going to refer to that one as Megan Brown. Can you tell us how Megan Brown was oriented?
Megan Brown was oriented to the west of the victim that we just described, and she was laying with her face down on the ground. She was clothed in jean shorts and a bathing suit type top.
Okay. And you said face down. Did she really have any face left?
There was not much face left, that's correct.
But essentially a bathing suit, for the most part, fully clothed, other than like bathing suit top instead of shirt. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Now, her hands, were her hands significantly decomposed?
Yes, they were.
Did y'all with forensics attempt to get fingerprint lifts from her hands anyway?
We attempted to, yes.
Okay. So even if there's not a lot left to gather the evidence from, you guys still attempt that?
That's correct.
Now, the the body that was directly underneath the one we referenced as Nicholas Leonard. Adult female.
That's correct.
Can you describe for the jury how that body was oriented?
That body was the victim, Margaret Brown, and she was also positioned under the first victim that we had described earlier. Her head was positioned to the south and her feet were to the north.
So her head and feet were going in the opposite direction as Megan's head and feet were going.
That's correct.
And what was she wearing?
She was fully clothed. She had dark pants on. She had a maroon shirt on with a Wawa description on it. There was an apron, and there was a white plastic bag that was adhered over the top of the head.
And you said an apron. Is that a black apron?
Yes, that's correct.
Was she wearing any shoes?
She was not wearing any shoes.
You recall, were there socks?
I don't recall.
Okay. And where were her hands?
Her hands were bound behind her back with zip ties.
And you started to reference this before, but, well, actually, strike that. You say bound together with zip ties. Can you describe for the jury the manner in which they were zip tied together?
Each hand had a zip tie around it, and then there was a larger zip tie that actually bound the two zip ties together.
And you started to reference her head. Well, could you see her head when you first removed the body?
No, you could not.
And why was that?
There was a white garbage bag that was placed over her head.
Was it secured in any way around her head?
It was, and there was black electrical tape that was sealing around the neck area.
Okay. Now I'm showing you State's Exhibit 284. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is that a photograph of?
That is the photograph of the decedent that we were just talking about.
The one that we've been referencing is Margaret Brown?
That's correct.
Without picking it up. Is that after Margaret has been removed from the area where you found her body onto a sheet from the medical examiner's office?
That's correct.
So that is not as she lied, but she's still otherwise the same.
That's correct.
Okay. And you haven't removed any clothes or anything from her at this point?
No, not at this time.
And is that something that you do with all the bodies? As the medical examiner takes the bodies, do you guys take the clothes?
Yes, we do.
Because the medical examiner only takes the bodies, is that right?
That's correct.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the waist up area of Margaret Brown as you found her?
Yes, it is.
And does that depict her hands in the fashion that you described them?
Yes, it does.
Does it depict the white garbage bags as you described them?
Yes.
This time, the state would like to move State's Exhibit 284 into evidence.
All right,
Same objection previously made, Judge.
all right, I'll overrule the objection, and it'll be admitted as State's 284 into evidence.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 285. Can you tell us what we're looking at there?
This is a close-up photograph of the zip ties that we talked about earlier.
Okay. Is a fair and accurate depiction of the way you found Margaret Brown?
Yes, that's correct.
I'd like to move State's 285 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 285 will be into evidence.
Now, did Margaret Brown have anything else around her body other than clothing and an apron?
She did. There seemed to be a brown electrical extension cord wrapped around her body.
You know, was that knotted as well?
It was knotted, yes.
Showing a photograph labeled State's 286 for identification. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is a close-up view of the knotted extension cord that we were talking about.
The knotted portion of that extension cord?
That's correct.
And did that go around her entire torso?
It did, yes.
This time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 286 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
286 will come into evidence.
Showing you State's Exhibit 287. You recognize that?
Yes, this is the white garbage bag that I described earlier with the black electrical type tape that was adhered around the bottom of the garbage bag.
Okay, and in this photograph, did somebody move the garbage bag a little bit in order so that you could see the tape that was securing it?
That's correct. That's the medical examiner personnel.
This time, so I would like to move State's Exhibit 287 into evidence.
Any objection to 287?
No objection.
All right, that'll be in 287.
Actually, I want to back up just a minute to the zip ties pictured in State's 285. Did you collect those items?
Yes, I did.
Did you enter them into evidence as SM40?
Yes, I did.
And the brown electrical cord that we can see the knot pictured in State's 286. Did you collect that brown electrical cord?
Yes, I did.
And did you enter it into evidence with the unique number of SM38?
Yes, I did.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 288 for identification. Do you recognize that?
I do. This is the photograph of the interior of the plastic bag once it has been removed from the victim.
Okay, and did you collect that plastic bag?
Yes, I did.
Did you enter into evidence as SM37?
Yes, I did.
At this time, the state would like to move State's Exhibit 288 into evidence.
Done?
Same objection, Judge, previously made.
All right, I'll overrule the objection, and I'll let 288 come into evidence.
I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibits 289 and 290. You recognize those?
I do.
And what are those?
These photographs are of an overall of the shirt that I described that the victim was wearing.
And is this after it was already removed?
That's correct.
And you took it back and laid it out so that it could be documented further?
That's correct.
And you indicated there was a logo on the, I guess, the left chest area?
And there was, and
What?
the second photograph is a close-up of that with a scale.
You know, what did the label say?
It says WAWA, W-A-W-A.
This time, state would like to move State's Exhibits 289 and 290 into evidence.
Any objection?
None, Your Honor.
All right, 289 and 290 will come into evidence.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibit 291. Do you recognize that?
Yes, this is the brown electrical extension cord, also displayed with a scale next to it.
Fair and accurate depiction of the way it appeared once you got it back to forensics and were cataloging it.
Yes, that's correct.
This time, Judge State would like to move State's Exhibit 291 into evidence.
Any objection?
None.
All right, 291 will come into evidence.
And in terms of Margaret Brown, aside from the shoes, otherwise fully clothed, undergarments, all that,
That's correct, yes.
once you removed the bag from around her head, did you observe any injuries about her head?
There appeared to be a large wound to the side of the head that she had.
And do you recall which side of the head that was?
I believe that was the left side of the head.
Easily observable by you?
It was, yes.
All right, I want to turn your attention to the fourth body, which I guess would be on the east part of the pile.
That's correct.
Can you tell us, and I'll reference that one as Greg Brown, would you please tell us how Greg Brown was oriented?
Greg Brown, his head was positioned to the north and his feet were to the south. Again, as stated, it was to the east of the other three bodies.
And face down, face up?
He was face down.
And significant decomposition?
Significant decomposition, yes.
Was there any face left?
It was severely decomposed.
Was his jawbone coming off and no longer attached in some places?
It appeared to be protruding out, yes.
Anything, what was he wearing?
He was wearing a pair of brown dark brown type plaid shorts, t-shirt, and socks.
Now, the shorts, you say dark brown, were they significantly stained?
They were due to the decomposition.
Or is it possible that they were a light color plaid prior to Greg Brown's death?
They could have been at one time, yes.
And the shirt, was that also significantly stained?
It was.
In fact, did you check the label of that shirt recently?
I did.
And was it a Hanes brand t-shirt consistent with a white t-shirt?
It was, yes.
But he was otherwise fully clothed?
He was, yes.
Do you have anything else around his torso?
This decedent also had a yellow rope consistent with the other yellow rope on the other victim.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 292 and 293. Can you tell me if you recognize those?
I do. These photographs are a close-up view of those yellow rope.
At this time, State would like to move States 292 and 293 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
292 and 293 will be in evidence.
Also showing you State's Exhibit 294 and 295. And let's start with 294. Do you recognize that?
I do. This is a decedent shirt we were just talking about.
And is that the front of the shirt?
This would be the front of the shirt, that's correct.
And there's like a white spot in the middle of it. Can you tell me what that is and why it appears that way?
There was a hole that was observed on the shirt, and to make it more pronounced, I placed a white card underneath that so that the viewer could see where the hole was.
At this time, so I would like to move State's Exhibit 294 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
294 will be admitted.
I'm showing you 295. Is that the back of that shirt?
Yes, it is.
And once again, was there, what's that white spot in the middle?
Again, a hole was observed on the lower right portion, and so a white card was placed under that hole to direct your attention to that area.
At this time, so I would like to move State's Exhibit 295 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
295 will come into evidence.
Did those appear to be the only two significant holes in that shirt?
Yes, it did.
When you moved Greg Brown's body, did you observe anything underneath the body?
Yes, there appeared to be an apparent projectile that was underneath the body and was actually laying on top of the grass.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 296 and 297. Can you describe for us what we're looking at with 296?
This is an overall photograph of the area that we were just talking about with the medical examiner personnel pointing out with his gloved hand the apparent projectile in the grass.
And tell me what 297 is.
This would be a close-up photograph of the apparent projectile that I just previously spoke about.
This time, so I would like to move State's Exhibits 296 and 297 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 296 and 297 will be in evidence.
And that projectile, did you collect that?
Yes, I did.
Did you enter it into evidence?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 298. I'm going to ask you to open that up and look at it. tell me if you recognize what's in there.
Keep it in the bag.
Yes, please, if you can. And you may have to open up the package inside. You recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
That is the apparent projectile we just previously spoke about, SM-59.
And Judge, I'd ask to move that into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, it'll be so moved.
Be careful, because it's open.
And you removed the clothing from Greg Brown as well as the other victims, is that right?
That's correct.
And when you removed the shorts, did you search through the pockets?
Yes, I did.
And I'm going to show you. These exhibits 299 and 300. Do you recognize these?
I do. These are two photographs of the contents of the pockets.
299 in particular, what is that?
This is going to be a Visa debit card in the name of Margaret Brown.
And what are the last four numbers on that credit card?
The numbers are 9616.
And State's Exhibit 300, what is that?
This is an overall photograph of 5 cents and a Maycraft tool.
And those also came out of Greg Brown's pocket?
That's correct.
Fair and accurate depiction of those items?
Yes, they are.
Judge State would ask to move State's Exhibits 299 and 300 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be so moved.
Now we're going to show you State's Exhibit 301. This is another item you're going to have to open up. You look at that and tell me what it is, or rather if you recognize it.
This is item SM-33, which is the debit card that we just spoke about.
Yeah, and that's the debit card that you found in Greg Brown's pocket.
That's correct.
This time, State would like to move State's Exhibit 301 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
301 will be in.
If you could look at State's Exhibit 302. Tell me if you recognize that.
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is the Maycraft measuring tool that we just spoke about, and it's item number SM-55.
And is that a, that is the item that came out of Greg Brown's pocket?
That's correct.
At this time, Judge State would ask to move State's Exhibit 302 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
302 will be in.
You have permission to publish some of these items to the jury.
You may. You want the witness to step down?
Yes, Judge, I'm going to move the, We start out with what's been entered into evidence of states 40. We've already seen. Can you just point out the area on the map where the bodies were found, so we're all oriented to the same thing?
This is an aerial photograph, obviously, of the scene and the location.
Ms. Miller, you gotta keep your voice up.
And the location is up at the north end here. I believe this is the north end of Dixie Highway. It's going to be on the west side.
And you see the area where the electrical substation is, that there near towards the end of the Old Dixie Highway Road?
That's correct. That's going to be right up about here.
And where would the bodies be in reference to that?
They are located slightly southwest of that electrical substation, right about there.
Okay. I'm now displaying states 41. Familiar with that?
Yes, this again is a mid-range view of that same area. This is the electrical substation right here. And we have the bodies seen, which is directly across on the west side.
And in particular, can you see the dark spot where the bodies were located?
That is going to be in this area here. I don't know if you can view that. It's about right here, just west of this power pole.
And was that area, even after bodies were removed, significantly stained in regard to the other growth in the area?
Yes, it was.
Now explain states 42. You shows exactly where the bodies were.
There's going to be this large area right here that you see, again, just west of that power pole.
Showing states 271. Can you tell us what we're looking at there?
This is going to be an overall photograph of the area where the decedents were located. This is going to be the road that we just viewed on the other aerial photograph, and this is going to be the path I talked about earlier leading to the decedents.
In particular, does that photograph match up with this one to give context to where the roadway is?
Yes, it does.
And is that a foot that you can see in the bottom left-hand corner?
Right about here, down the left-hand side.
I'm now displaying States Exhibit 270. Describe what we're looking at here.
This is the area we spoke about earlier in our tent that's erected due to the inclement weather. This is the west side of Old Dixie Highway, and this is the area of the matted down vegetation leading to the decedents.
So that tent, you guys put that there?
We did, yes.
I wasn't there when you got there.
No, it was not.
In erecting the tent, did you disturb the bodies in any way, or did you leave them undisturbed and erect the tent over them?
They were left undisturbed.
I'm displaying States Exhibit 269. Can you tell me what this stuff is on the side of the road right here? Not displaying for you, but- Can you see that?
As you can see, it had rained, so we have some puddling that's occurring on the west side of that Old Dixie Highway.
And if you follow this lighter area, that take you to where the bodies were?
That's correct, directly back here to the northwest.
So here from the roadway, they were not immediately visible?
They were not visible.
If you went in this direction a few feet, were they difficult to spot?
Once you started to walk up towards the path, they were not difficult, but from the roadway, they were obscured by the vegetation that you see right here.
In States 268, does that show the inclement and weather you were talking about, and the electrical substation in reference to where the body's located?
Yes, you can see the electrical substation right here, and as you can see at the top there, it's a stormy day.
And that gate that you can see there, Stacy's at 266, is that a photograph of that same gate?
That's correct. That's the close-up of the substation on the east side of the road.
I'm displaying stage 267. Is that the rest of the substation?
Yes, it is.
Showing displaying stage 265. Does that depict the berm at the dead end?
That's correct. That's going to be right here that travels all the way across Dixie Highway.
So at that time, this area of Old Dixie Highway was not passable, and anyone traveling down this area would have had to have stopped at this area?
Correct.
Displaying 273. What is this area here on the bottom of the photograph?
Again, this is the pooling of the rain that had occurred previously along the west side of the road. The bottom left-hand side, you can see the placement identification number and, of course, the tent that you previously saw that had been erected.
And these bushes here are a different color than the rest of the bushes over here. Why are they this different color?
Presumably because of the lime rock. When people drive up and down the road, it probably deposits some lime rock onto vegetation, giving it a white effect.
Or heavy rain?
Or heavy rain.
And can you see the two yellow things here and here?
Yes, placement identification number, pin 1 and pin 2, which is located right here. Three, excuse me.
And are those put there to denote areas of interest?
Yes, they are.
I'm now displaying stage exhibit 274. You recognize that?
I do. This placement identification number is depicting this bungee cord, blue in color, that was located at the scene.
Now, you put a placement marker there. Do you know for sure if this bungee cord came from this incident?
I do not.
But was it an item of interest that you decided to mark in the photograph?
Yes, it was.
Displaying stage 275. Tell me what this and this are.
Those two areas right there are the two pop-up tents that I told you earlier that we had erected.
Why did you erect a second pop-up tent?
That was placed so that any items of evidence could be put underneath that pop-up tent in case the rain did come and it would be protected from the elements.
It's a little bit difficult to see here, so I'm trying to zoom in. What is that in the grass, kind of in the lower middle left of the photograph?
That's an additional placement identification number, PIN number as we refer to it, and it is depicting an area where there's a piece of black electrical tape on the ground.
Showing you, I'm displaying stage 276. Can you show us what that pin marker is trying to?
That's the area right there of the item I just spoke to you about, the black tape.
I'm displaying stage 277. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
This is placement identification number 3, and it's elevated slightly up onto an additional berm there on the west side of the street, and there are two woven blankets, multicolored, one being the blue, one being more of a red color.
I'm displaying stage 278. Is that a close-up of one of the woven blankets?
Yes, it is. This is obviously the blue one.
I'm Displaying states 279. Is that close up with the other old blanket?
Yes, it is.
Displaying states 280. Tell us what we're looking at there.
This is the yellow knotted rope that we previously talked about that was wrapped around one of the victims.
Okay, and what are all those white things that we see?
Those are maggots.
Is there significant maggot activity on these 4 bodies?
There were.
I'm displaying states 281.
This is a close-up of that yellow rope with a scale that's adjacent to it so that you can reference it for size.
So is this the yellow rope after it was removed from Nicholas Leonard?
It is.
And states 282, is that close-up of one of the knots on that yellow rope?
Yes, it is.
And is 283 a close-up of the other knot on that rope?
Yes, it is.
Displaying states 285. Tell us what we're looking at there.
This is the close-up image of the black zip ties that we had previously talked about that were binding the hands of the victim.
And can you show the jury where the different zip ties are in relation to the hands?
It's a little hard to see in this photograph, but you can see a portion of one zip tie, portion of the other, and then in the middle we have another zip tie that's conjoining the two together.
And are the hands here and here?
Yes, they are.
I don't think I asked you this before. Were they also decomposing?
They were.
Did you attempt to get prints from those as well?
We attempted to, yes.
Promises as to how useful they were?
Correct.
Showing you states, displaying states 286. And then can you tell us what we're looking at here?
This was the brown extension cord that we spoke about that was also wrapped around the decedent. And this is zooming in here on the knot of the extension cord.
Showing states 287. Tell us what we're looking at there.
This is the white plastic bag with the black tape that I spoke about. And this is the medical examiner's hand as he's beginning to remove the bag from the decedent.
So that bag right there in this photograph, this is actually Margaret Brown's head we're looking at,
That's correct.
with the bag on top of it.
Yes.
Displaying states 289. And that's the shirt that Margaret Brown was wearing.
Yes, it is.
Displaying states 290, and that's a close-up of the logo on that shirt.
Yes, it is.
Displaying states 291. Is that the brown electrical cord that was wrapped around Margaret's body?
Yes, it is, with the scale also included in the photograph.
Displaying states 292. I believe you indicated that was the yellow rope that was wrapped around Greg Brown's body.
That's correct.
And is 293 a close-up of the knot
Yes, it
on
is.
that rope? Displaying states 294. Is that the front of Greg Brown's shirt?
Yes, that is the front.
And displaying states 295. Is that the back?
Yes, it is.
Can you point out the white hole?
That's going to be at the right lower portion right here. You can see where that white area is.
Displaying states 296. I'm trying to zoom in for you, point out for us what was in that here.
This area right here, we have the gloved finger from the medical examiner personnel who's pointing out the apparent projectile that was located in the vegetation.
Displaying stage 297.
And that is a close-up of that apparent projectile in the medical examiner's hand.
Displaying stage 299. Was this the credit card that you found in Greg Brown's pocket?
Yes, it is, with the name Margaret Brown on it, ending in 9616.
And I'm displaying stage 300. Is that the tool and the 5 cents that you were referring to?
That's correct. There's the nickel and there's the Maycraft tool.
I think I forgot to ask you, in terms of Greg Brown, was there anything left on his hand to try and get fingerprints from?
No, there wasn't.
So I'm going to ask you to show some of the items that you just admitted to the jury, if the judge would allow.
No.
Do you mind if I get my mouse?
Oh, please do. Starting with stage 298, the projectile. If you could show the jury that. I'm sorry. Can you show them Case Exhibit 301?
The card that we previously spoke about.
How's that item smell?
There is an odor to it.
Still after 3 years?
Yes, that's correct.
And if you could display, I think that's 303. 302, sorry.
This is the Maycraft tool.
Now you're here to receipt from everyone. Thank you. So I want to ask you about a couple of other items. subsequent to removing the bodies from the Old Dixie Highway scene, did you go to the medical examiner's office and collect items from the bodies?
Yes, I collected all the items that were recovered from during the autopsy.
Can you tell us what SM2 is?
Do you mind if I refer to my report?
Not at all. That would help refresh your recollection.
SM2 is going to be described as rib and muscle from Nicholas Leonard.
Okay. What is SM8?
SM8 is going to be described as projectile head from Megan Brown.
And Judge, I'm showing defense counsel state's exhibit 303. Ms. Miller, if you could open that up and look in there for me. And you don't have to open the second envelope, just the first. You recognize that?
I do. This is the envelope that I collected from the medical examiner's office.
Okay. Does it appear to be in the same or substantially similar condition as when you collected it from the medical examiner's office?
Yes, it does.
Minus the Florida Department of Law Enforcement cuttings and tape?
Correct.
At this time, Judge State would ask to move State's Exhibit 303 into evidence.
Any objection?
No. Ms. Miller, can you tell us what SM9 is?
SM9 is described as being rib and muscle in a sealed clear plastic bag
Rib and muscle tissue
from the medical examiner's office.
from which particular victim?
Megan Brown.
Okay. And again, SM2, SM8, SM9, these are unique numbers that are assigned to these items in order to identify them in evidence?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you tell us what SM15 is?
SM15 is described as being rib and muscle from Margaret Brown.
And SM17?
That is going to be described as rib and muscle from victim Greg Brown.
And can you tell us what is SM34?
An item collected at the ME's office. I don't have the full description on my notes.
Okay. Would referencing your report help you, or is that what you just did?
That's what I just did.
How about the property vouchers? Would that assist you? Or do you
Yes,
have a
one
copy of
moment.
those? Showing you a copy of your property vouchers, or do you have a copy of those already?
Oh, I have a copy. Thank you.
Okay.
SM34 is described as being nail scrapings and cuttings from victim number 3, which is Margaret Brown.
Okay, and what's SM35?
Nail scrapings and cuttings from victim 3, also Margaret Brown, from the left hand.
Okay. What is SM21?
SM21 is described as nail scrapings and cuttings from victim Nicholas Leonard.
What is SM22?
Nail scrapings and cuttings from Nicholas Leonard from the left hand.
Can you tell us what SM227 is?
227 or 27?
227.
Left hand nail scrapings and cuttings from Nicholas Leonard.
And SM228?
Those are going to be described as the right hand nail scrapings and cuttings, also from Nicholas Leonard.
And so these are all items that you collected and placed into evidence with those unique numbers.
That's correct.
Now, I want to turn your attention to Friday, September 5th of 2014. Did you go back to the old Dixie Highway area where the bodies were after the bodies had been removed?
Yes, we did.
And did you use a metal detector in that area?
That's correct, we did.
And did, I believe it was Michael Coates help you?
He did, he assisted me.
And did you use a metal detector over the area where the bodies were and the path leading up to the bodies in that general area?
Yes, we did.
In an attempt to locate potential additional evidence?
We did. We had negative results.
And negative results means you didn't find it, nothing was detected with a metal detector?
That's correct.
Okay. When you were there on the 5th, how did it smell?
There was still an odor of decomposition in the air.
Was it significant?
It was significant.
Now, in terms of the residence, 7719 Hatteras Drive, did you assist in processing that residence at all?
Yes, I did.
And was your particular area of responsibility largely the west garage?
It was. That was my only responsibility.
And did you do most of the processing of the west garage?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm going to come and show you some photographs. And then we may talk about it. For the record, I've previously shown defense counsel all these photographs. They are marked. Showing you currently states exhibits 304 through 309. If you can look at those for me and tell me if you recognize those.
I do.
And what are those of?
These photographs depict the interior of that west garage.
Fair and accurate depictions?
Yes, they are.
At this time, say would like to move states exhibits 304 through 309 into evidence.
Any objection? All right, 304 through 309 will be admitted.
Now I'm showing you states exhibits 310, oh, just 310. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is going to be an area inside the west garage. Along the east wall, it was a small closet-type area that was underneath a set of stairs.
And did you look at anything of interest in that area?
No, nothing of interest inside that closet.
We'll talk about things just outside of that closet in a few minutes, but at this time, say would like to move states exhibit 310 into evidence.
Any objection? 310 will be in.
I'm showing you what's been marked as states 310. I'll start 310. You recognize that?
I do. This is going to be a vehicle that was parked inside that west garage.
It's 311.
I'm sorry, you're right, 311. Fair and accurate depiction?
Yes, it is.
This time, they would like to move 311 into evidence.
Any objection? 311 will be in.
Now, that vehicle, the Blazer that was in that garage, did you have an opportunity to process that eventually?
I did.
I'm showing you photographs 312, or States Exhibits 312 and 313 for identification. You recognize those?
I do.
What are those of?
These photographs depict the interior of that car that I just spoke about in the garage.
Fair and accurate depiction?
It is.
This time, State would like to move States Exhibits 312 and 313 into evidence.
Any objection?
There you
312 and 313 will be in.
Now, in terms of that vehicle, is there anything really that interesting that you discovered inside of it, other than what's depicted in those photographs?
No, other than what's depicted in those photographs, nothing.
Okay, I'll show you States Exhibits 314 through 316. Take a moment and look at those for me. You recognize those?
I do. These photographs are again going to be the interior of that west garage.
Okay, is that the floor area in the west garage?
Yes, it is.
Fair and accurate depictions?
It is.
This time, State would like to move States Exhibits 314 through 316 into evidence.
Any objection?
go.
All right, so photos 314 through 316 are in evidence.
Showing you States Exhibits 317 through 324. Take a moment and look through those for me. Do you recognize those?
I do. These are
And is that a general area of 3 plastic sets of drawers and then several photographs of one of those particular sets of drawers?
yes, it is.
Fair and accurate depictions?
Yes.
This time, they would like to move States Exhibits 317 through 324 into evidence.
Any objection? All right, they'll be moved 317 through 324 into evidence.
Now showing you States Exhibits 325 through 332. If you could look through those and tell me if you recognize those. You recognize those?
I do. Those are photographs of items that are actually in the west garage.
Fair and accurate depictions?
They are.
This time, State would like to move States Exhibits 325 through 332 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
They'll be so moved.
I'm showing you States Exhibits 333 and 334. Do you recognize, add to that 335? You recognize those?
I do.
And what are-
333, 335?
Correct.
Okay.
You recognize those?
I do. These again are photographs depicting items that are inside that west garage.
Fair and accurate depictions?
Yes, they are.
This time, State would like to move 333 through 335 into evidence.
Any objection? They'll be so moved 333 through 335.
Turning your attention to States Exhibit 336 through 339 for identification. Can you look at those and tell me if you recognize those?
Yes, I do.
And what are those?
These are close-up photographs of items that are actually in the west garage.
Fair and accurate depictions.
Yes, they are.
This time, the state would like to move state's exhibits 336 through 339 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Will be so moved.
I want to turn your attention to state's exhibits 340, 341, and 342. Can you tell us what those depict?
These photographs depict garbage bags that were located in one of the corners in that west garage.
And in particular, does it also depict a bag that you marked as bag 11 and its contents?
That's correct.
Fair and accurate depictions?
It is.
This time, the state would like to move state's exhibits 340 through 342 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Will be so moved. 340 to 342.
Showing you state's exhibits 343 through 345. Do you recognize those?
Yes, I do. This is a close-up photograph of one of the items inside that west garage and the contents of that item.
Actually, can you tell me a little bit about that one? Now,
Which specific picture are we looking at?
that is state's 343. And actually, first, let me ask the judge to move states 343 through 345 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
343 to 345 will be in evidence.
And can you tell us 343, what does that depict?
343 is a close-up photograph of a plastic garbage bag with a placement identification number of 12.
And did you open that bag?
I did. The second photograph is the contents of that plastic garbage bag.
And what were the contents of that plastic garbage bag?
It appeared to be the cutting of a mattress top with apparent blood that was located on the front of that.
Was that the only thing that was located in that particular trash bag?
Yes, it was.
Now showing you state's exhibits 346 through 353. Can you tell me what these are?
The first photograph is going to be depicting an additional garbage bag that was located inside that west garage. It had been opened up and the contents displayed and photographs of those items taken.
Okay. Fair and accurate depictions?
Yes, it is.
At this time, so I would like to move state's exhibits 346 through 353 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Will so move. 346 to 353.
Now showing you state's exhibits 354 to 350, I'll say 354 and 355. Can you tell me what those are?
This photograph depicts a white fitted sheet that was located in one of the bags. The second photograph is zoomed in on an area that appeared to be blood.
Turning your attention to state's exhibits, no, I'm sorry, we'd like to move state's exhibits 354 and 355 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
354 and 355 again.
Turning your attention to states 356 through 360. Can you tell us what those are?
The first photograph depicts a black trash can located on the east side of that west garage. The second photograph depicts the same trash can with the lid actually open and a placement identification number of 14 placed on top of that trash can. The third photograph is a view inside that trash can where there was a white plastic bag inside.
And were there 2 trash bags inside that trash can?
There were 2 piled on top of each other, yes.
And what did the next 2 photographs depict?
The last 2 photographs are of several DVDs that were inside those trash cans, in the trash bags, excuse me.
Are those fair and accurate depictions?
Yes, they are.
State would like to move State's Exhibits 356 through 360 into evidence.
Any objection? Will be so moved.
I'm now going to show you State's Exhibits 361 through 368. If you get a look at those, tell me if you recognize those.
Yes, I do. These photographs are depicting the contents of the additional garbage bag located in the trash can. The second photograph is of an area that we found inside the trash can that was an apparent projectile. The remainder of the photographs are also depicting items that were inside those plastic garbage bags and also a cartridge that was found inside the bag.
State,
The last 2 photographs include a box of wipe-alls, which is a disinfectant type wipe, and also a cardboard box of great value trash bags.
this time the state would like to move State's Exhibits 361 through 368 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Jason, can you pause for a second, Joe?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to, at this point, stop for the evening because the witness has identified all of the items that she was going to identify, and they were going to go into showing her on the big screen, and that can take another 45 minutes to an hour. So we also all need a bathroom break, so it seems like a perfectly good time to stop. I'll remind you, again, I don't like stopping, but this is a good place because you're going to re-see all the evidence again anyway. So I'm going to ask you to put away all your stuff for the night. I'm going to remind you, no texting, tweeting, blogging. I did see an article in the St. Pete Times or the Tampa Times or whatever they call it now. So I'll remind you not to read the newspaper, don't look online, no talking about the case.